Doug Basham, thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us here this evening. You were born in Clarksville, Indiana in 1972. What are your earliest memories of growing up in the wrestling business?
Well, my earliest memories of growing up in the wrestling business, I remember being introduced to wrestling by the age of 3. Wow. 3 years old, I watched, I got a lot of the Mid-South wrestling from Memphis, Tennessee. Jerry Lawler, Dutch Mantell, Sonny King. A lot of these are names people probably wouldn't know, but these are the guys I watched growing up. And ever since I was old enough to turn the TV on and turn the knob and figure out when wrestling came on every Saturday at 12 noon, high noon, I was always in front of the tube with my stuffed teddy bear, doing the moves and play wrestling with the little fella, tore him all to pieces. Those are my first memories of wrestling.
Very good. Well, a lot of people may not know this, but you're the nephew of Ohio Valley Wrestling founder Danny Davis. You were trained by your uncle, I believe. And could you take us through a typical day's training?
Take you through a typical day's training. Let me tell you a little bit something about being a nephew or a son or daughter or whatever of a wrestling legend, because he's one of my idols.
Of course.
He was a lot harder on me, and he expected a lot more of me in the wrestling. And granted, you know, I don't mean to toot my own horn or anything like that. Granted, I took to it like a duck to water. I was a natural at it. I'm just a natural gifted athlete, and not meaning to be cocky or anything like that. But you want to get the truth out on this DVD, right?
Of course, yeah.
So this is me. This is Doug Basham talking to you. He expected a lot more out of me. He was a lot harder on me. If I didn't do something right, he would point me out more. And I didn't take that stuff as a negative and like, hey, you're being a dick. Why are you pointing me out? I took it as a positive, saying, you know, he must care a lot more, paying a lot more attention to me than he is everybody else, because he wants me to be, he wants me to succeed. Exactly. That's how I took that stuff there. Those were some of my first memories of training with in Nightmare Danny Davis School of Professional Wrestling, it was called, and I started in 1993 at the age of 20.
Wow. Very good. Did you at any point during your initial training say it was too much and not want to quit, or did anyone try to discourage you or encourage you at that time?
Yeah, actually, yeah. When I turned 18 and graduated high school, I get a little backpedaling here before I get to the story, because nobody knows this stuff. When I was 18, I went to college. I went to Indiana University, and I was going to college to be a doctor, a hand and microscopic surgeon. Yeah, wow. I'm kind of smart.
Yeah.
And my dad was proud of me for going to school, going to college, the first guy in our family to actually go to college. I was doing pretty well. And about 3 years later, I decided that I don't think I want to go to college anymore. I don't think I want to be a doctor anymore. Right. So I started going to wrestling school, and before I told my dad that I didn't want to go to school anymore to be a doctor, which was his dream, which, you know, it was sort of my dream too, but I think he was really wanting his son to be a doctor. I come up and said, Dad, I have this opportunity. I've been going to wrestling school. You know this. He knew I was going to wrestling school too, but he thought I was just playing around.
Right, okay.
And I had an opportunity with USWA to start traveling on the road, and I had to tell my dad that I was going to quit college.
Man.
Yeah, quit college. Picture this, right? My dad's standing in front of me. Dad, I'm not going to college anymore. I'm going to be a professional wrestler. I'm going to start traveling and make peanuts.
Yeah.
Wow, that
Didn't
was
go down
one.
Very well.
No, it did not go down well at all. It was one of the moments in my life that my dad really hurt me, but I know he meant it. He didn't mean to hurt me, because he just wanted me to live a better life than he did. And he wanted the best for me. And being a doctor, he thought I would have no problems with financially, no problems in life. But in all actuality, when I set my mind to something, I go balls to the wall. Right. I don't just do something half-ass. I go all the way. But school, I was going all the way. Granted, I didn't make all A's, but who does, right?
Exactly.
Nerds. But anyway, with wrestling, man, I went balls to the wall, went all out. Achieved success, and lived a good life, and it's been paying my bills for quite some time.
Okay.
You know?
Very good.
So my dad did get over it. Once he found out that I didn't go to college anymore and I had, achieved success in wrestling, he kind of forgave me a little bit.
That's pretty good.
I love my dad.
That's pretty good. Do you have any memories of your first match and how it went, or who you wrestled? How did it go?
I remember my very first match ever. It was 6 months into my training. It was in Central City, Kentucky, for just a small little rinky-dink company. And I was a masked assassin facing the masked Texas Hangman, which I don't think it was the original Texas Hangman, because I know the original Texas Hangman. But anyway, I got in the match. I was so nervous, I was shitting my pants. And I'd forgotten everything I learned in 6 months. Really? And the only thing I could remember was a headbutt. That's all I could do. I got tagged in, I was shitting my pants, and I was like, come here, bam! And I was headbutting people. And the guy, Jerry Faith and Troy Haste was my two opponents. And I was headbutting them so hard, they were like, fucking tag out, get out of here, get out. And I'm like, what's tag out? What's tag out? I didn't know what it was. I was just panicking big time. But that was my first experience in wrestling right there. Memorable. It's just like sex. You'll always remember your first time and your last time. That was my first time.
What were the promotions you worked for prior to joining the WWE, and also the wrestlers you worked with?
Man, I worked with a lot of small-time independent promotions, but mainly most of my career I stayed with Ohio Valley Wrestling with my uncle Danny Davis, and he groomed me and molded me and kind of protected me from, I don't know, making mistakes, going the wrong way, and he kind of like held me by the hand and waited until I was actually ready. So, I owe him a lot for that, for doing that for my career.
Of course, yeah. Definitely. Just going back to your earlier career again, are there any good practical jokes or trips that you remember from that part of your career?
Oh yeah, there's several. I mean, how much time do we have?
Sure. Well,
you have any more questions? Because I can fill up the rest of the time with this stuff.
Okay. Well, one or two good stories would be nice.
This is kind of gross, but hey, man, it's wrestling, right?
Yeah, that's all part of it.
I was dieting really hard, and I was in Indianapolis, Indiana, and this was kind of an embarrassing moment in wrestling for me. My opponent was Jerry Faith again.
Right.
He picked me up and slammed me, and my stomach had been bothering me all day,
Right.
And I remember telling him, man, be careful, don't kick me in the stomach or hit me in the stomach, because it's really bothering me. So he didn't kick me or hit me in the stomach at all that night, but he did pick me up and body slam me. And what happened was this term that a few of us guys, close friends of mine, we use, I appled.
Okay.
Meaning I shit my pants in like a little round apple shape. That's called appling.
Okay.
You ever appled?
It's
not a good experience. Not a good experience at all. But anyway, it smelled like pure shit, and it stunk up the ring. And Jerry's got me in a rear chin lock, and he's like, "Oh my God, what'd you do?" And I said, "Oh, I shit my pants. I told you slammed me so hard, I just shit." And then he goes, "Oh my God," he picked me up. I was like, "Throw me out, throw me out." He said, "No." So he wallered me all in it. So the shit was it was all over. I didn't know what undertights were yet. Okay. Nobody clued me in. So I had this fucking brown ass stain and some neon green singlet that I was wearing. I was new to the game, right? I was new to this, and it smelled like shit. Yeah. That the people in the front row could smell it, and I just,
oh man, you
did what I could do to get through.
A memorable night, as they say.
Yeah, I threw that singlet away, took a shower, and just chalked it up as
a learning experience
and paying my dues.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Who inspired you when you broke into the business at first, and who inspires you today?
I was inspired mainly by Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels. I liked their style, their wrestling, obviously the technical aspect from Bret Hart, and the entertainment value, charisma from Shawn Michaels. Sure. So I was quite inspired by those two guys.
Mm-hmm. And what about today? Is there anyone today who inspires you, or you can look out to and see?
I'm really not inspired too much by anybody today. Mainly focused on my career and trying to finish off or do what I want to do or accomplish what I haven't accomplished yet.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Fair enough. The initial setting up of OVW, how much work was involved, and was it on the same? What level was WWE involved at the very beginning?
WWE got involved with OVW. It was close to probably 8, 9 years, maybe right. 7, 8, 9 years after Nightmare Danny Davis School of Professional Wrestling started, and then it moved to Ohio Valley Wrestling, and we started a small TV. Okay. And Jim Cornette had a huge factor in that, bringing the WWE to Ohio Valley Wrestling. What was the question I was answering?
Just the initial setting up of OVW.
Oh yeah, I think I just answered that.
Yeah.
Jim Cornette had a lot to do with that, setting it up and bringing it to Louisville, Kentucky.
Okay, pretty. That's pretty good. All right, the WWE developmental system. What are their goals essentially? I mean, there are no territories anymore, unfortunately.
No, they're dead.
So the WWE has taken over the training of up and coming young wrestlers. So what are their goals and what do they look for in new talent?
You know, back when the developmental system started, it was a little different than it is now today. I feel these are, I could be wrong in some people's eyes, but in my eyes, this is what I see. Okay. Back when I started, they were just looking for good talent that were wrestlers out there on the independents and bringing them to OVW to hone their skills and get them ready for the WWE, get them ready for the big dance, their style. And that's what Ohio Valley Wrestling did. Got in front of the camera because we had TV there, get used to cues, honing their skills. And they brought athletes in from all over the place, all over the country, all over the world for that matter. And some guys sucked and didn't make it, and some guys, had some talent and pulled through, and other guys were just fucking great, man, and are the superstars you see on TV today. John Cena, Batista, Randy Orton.
Exactly.
One of the greatest in the business, I think. Leader of the next generation, Randy Orton. And Shelton Benjamin is a natural athlete. Others like that. But now I feel like what I see today in the developmental system is they go out because there's nowhere to go get talent from. Exactly. The WWE had totally wiped out all the territories. They bought up all the talent, just bled them dry. Territories are dead. The independents, I'm sorry guys, but in the independents, a lot of the guys suck because they're backyard wrestlers. That's the fucking most ignorant shit I've ever seen in my life. Yeah. And you call yourself a wrestler.
No, it's true. You're right.
Yeah, but there's really nowhere to pull talent from. So today, you have to make your own. So the WWE, what I feel is throwing guys into this machine called the World Wrestling Entertainment and trying to spit out, 20 or 30 potentials, hoping to grab 1 or 2 next stars, next Rocks, next Austins, next Hogans, next Cenas, next Batistas, next... Triple H's, that's what they're trying to do, and it's working for them. They throw 100 guys in there, they get 5 good ones. You know what I mean? It's kind of like going to a good strip club. You got 100 girls, you got 5 good ones. Hey, you're happy.
Is it somewhat of an empty pool, in your opinion? As in, you got 100 guys, as you say, but you only pick 5. Will those odds decrease as the years go on? Will there be less talent to pick from because of the lack of the developmental system?
I think that you just go with numbers, man. You throw 100 people in there, you're going to get at least 5 every time, right. Or at least 1 golden egg. That's what they look for, that 1 golden. That's all they need is that 1 golden egg to draw money off of. Example: Rock, Austin,
exactly.
Hogan, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That is what the WWE, I feel, in my opinion, is doing now. And I feel sorry for the guys who are being thrown into this WWE pool and, thinking that they got this opportunity. Everybody has an opportunity. Even I had an opportunity. It's just those who want to grab, like Vince McMahon always say, grab the brass ring,
Right.
run with the ball, And those guys that do that will prosper and make a load of money, be famous, have celebrity status, big houses, cars, loads of cash in the bank. And those that don't are going to be on the unemployment line. And that's a true hard fact of wrestling.
Right.
And it sucks because some guys, I don't know about a lot of them, but some guys actually have a passion for it and actually watch wrestling when they were little. And those are the guys that really want it really bad.
Yeah.
And seems like those guys don't seem to make it for some reason. I don't understand why. I don't fucking know. But and the ones who are picked off the street, who don't even know shit about wrestling, come in, got some talent, get moved on, booted up. Those are the guys that make it.
Okay.
Sucks, but it's just the reality. It's just the way it is. Just the way it fucking is, you know what I mean?
So, Doug, roughly around 1999 to 2000, you formed the Revolution Group down in OVW, which included the recently retired WWE diva Victoria. Can you tell us what other talents were involved in the group alongside you, and how the formation of the group came about, and your opinions on each of the members involved?
Well, in the storyline, Jim Cornette put together a little stable for me called, we did call it the Revolution, because we were there to revolutionize OVW, was the basis behind it.
Right.
And I hired, basically the storyline was, I hired some of the guys that were already on the roster to be in my group. One was Smooth Johnny Spade, was a real scrawny, lanky guy that just would get on your nerves in real life. So he was a perfect addition to the stable, because he'd get on people's nerves out there.
Okay.
There was also, I always had a big man, and I had Mike Hard. He was a guy who was in development for a while, who was in Memphis area. Then he got released, and then I brought in a guy by the name of Bear. He looked like a Bruiser Brody kind of guy. Right. And then after that, I hired in a guy, Heidenreich was part of the Revolution.
Okay.
So I always had the big man. And then eventually then came in the Damager, who was my a.k.a. Danny Basham.
That's right.
Who we eventually went on to be the Basham brothers. So that was my stable.
Very good, very good. If you could put together a new version of the Revolution Group today, who would you have in the group with you, including any female workers?
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention Victoria in the stable too. Yeah, Victoria, I'll go back. Victoria was added to the stable for obviously looks and management roles. And she was quite talented too, so she could do a lot of stuff as well. And she was eye candy.
Yeah.
Other than me, she was eye candy.
Of course.
Yeah. And if I could make a new stable, I would probably have another beautiful female that could actually go and wrestle in a ring. I would probably have Gail Kim,
right?
Very talented individual. As the female, I would have a large and in charge individual, probably the likes of maybe Batista, someone like that. So I'd have the big gun, and then I got to have my small high flyer in there.
Right.
Probably have a guy like AJ Styles, be a good addition to put in there. And then of course it'd be me to be the brains, and then for a tag team partner, I would probably go back with my original Danny Holly, aka Damager, aka Danny Basham. Definitely got to have him in there. That'd be my new stable.
Very good, very good. Moving on to your WWE career, between 1999 and 2003, you got the chance to work various enhancement and dark matches for WWE TV against many of their top stars. What do you feel was holding you back at this time from getting a regular TV and roster spot?
I don't feel like I was being held back. I feel like I was being given a chance. I was being given the opportunity to be seen in front of the big company.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys come in and do enhancement matches. That's kind of the way they're introduced, you know. You come in, you do enhancement matches. All the agents, Vince, look at you and go, "We can do something with this. This could be a hell of a hand," which I've been told, hell of a hand. See where that got me. But and then every now and then you get the golden egg, and people go, "Oh, this kid could have something."
He's got something.
So enhancement matches are good. That's how they use. That's what they use to bring in talent. Take a look at new talent. So I was just in the same position, same spot, predicament.
Yeah, but you looked at it as an opportunity.
Opportunity, definitely. Anytime you get an opportunity to go to one of these big venues and step into a WWE ring,
yeah,
That's not a bad
chance of
thing.
a lifetime.
Exactly. That's a chance of a lifetime. And it's if you reach up and grab that brass ring, or if you can run with that ball.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
opportunity knocks. Answer the door. There's Eugene in a poster here. Eugene, otherwise known as Nick Densmore, really good friend of mine. One of the best guys I've ever been in the ring with, actually. Right there. Excellent, excellent worker, excellent wrestler. Man, there's all kinds of people here. Holy crud. Tracy Smothers, wily veteran. One of the guys that led the way for me. Kid Cash, a co-worker in WWE. D-Lo. Oh, I didn't see D-Lo. Christopher Daniels. Yeah. Steve Carino. Colt Cabana, who was in the WWE. I think he may have been released recently, though. Wow. Oh, the Quebecer. All kinds of stars. Wow. Hey. There's even Doug Basham. Who's that fella? Looks kind of jacked. And Davari. Balls. Raven. A lot of these guys I've wrestled here, I've seen. And Fit Finley? Fit Finley. Wow, what a difference. Holy cow. Young Fit Finley. This is an amazing collection of posters on the wall here.
Most of them are from actual live events like over the years here, whereas the English ones would be shows from the 70s and 80s.
Oh, the Big Daddy and Haystack. Seen some work from them. That's back when wrestling was really, really good back in the day. Look at the poster. You see that the poster here? You see what the makeup of this poster is? Here you've got your main draw on the poster. You got Big Daddy versus Haystacks. You got pictures of those guys right there. That's going to draw attention to your show. Hopefully, that's one of the most important things you'd want on your poster when you want to try to put asses in seats, which is what we do. And then you got in big letters, Big Daddy. He's the champion, right? And there he is. Look how big he is holding that little baby. It's a big dude. And so that's your main event. It's good to have your main event on your poster so you can tell people what they're going to see. Another thing you got to have is where it's going to be. The town hall in Leeds, right up top on your poster, right here, so people know what's going on or where it's at and what's going on wrestling. Then you got to have the date, obviously, so people know when this is going to be. All these are the makings of a good poster. A lot of people want to know how much, so it's good to always have a price on your poster. I don't think price of admission is not $3.50 anymore, is it?
Not for a long time.
Yeah. And down here in smaller letters, it says where you can get your tickets and stuff like that. But this is the makings of a pretty good poster right here. And as I look, we go over and we look at, that's a poster of yesterday, and we look at the poster of today. Very similar. You have, Irish Whip Wrestling Presents, and you have your stars, guys, right here on your poster. And right here, big letters too, just like over there. You have where it's going to be at Town Hall, and then you have the date, and then the price. Right down here is €10, a little different than yesterday's poster. But the two posters are very similar in their aspects, and that's very important when you promote shows to show people what they're going to get. And that's a nice, good-sized poster. Pretty. There's lots of different ways to advertise, when you advertise shows, newspapers, radios. But this right here is the most widely used, not just here in Europe or here in Ireland or even in England, but even in the States too. People go out and they send posters and put posters and they just plaster them all over towns to let people know we're coming. That's not too many other ways you can do it other than just good old hard work and elbow grease. Get out there and hit the pavement. Put your posters on poles and windows. Put little flyers on cards, like I think there's see some smaller, like little smaller flyers somewhere. Maybe on the other wall over there. But Then you got your little bitty ones, smaller ones. You can put these on cars parked in parking lots and stuff like that. Rene Dupree, hey, wrestled him. But that's something like this is a good makings to the beginning of a really good show to come. And it's big. People see that, they're going to come watch the show.
And since you've been on independent since leaving the WWE, would you come across many posters in towns that you run, regardless of Europe or the States?
Usually whenever, here lately, when I've been going around here in Ireland right now, when I go to a town, the guys will take me out and I'll see the posters in the window. And when I do see the posters in the window, I usually go into the stores and say hi to the people that's there and tell them there's a good looking guy on a poster out there. And then they look at me real funny. And then they take a second look and go, oh, hey, it's you. But in the States, I don't normally see as many posters. It's actually, here it's a little better. The promotion, shows are promoted a little bit better from what I've noticed from going in the States. A lot more poster work, a lot more people hitting the pavement, putting the ads out there than in the States. Some of them just try to rely on word of mouth in the States. I mean, they're a little bit lazy. But as far as the promoting the shows go, I think some people over here do a little bit better job than what I've seen in the States, the ones I've worked for. The quality of the posters are really good too. This right here, Irish Whip does a really good job putting posters up and making a nice quality poster. It's a good collection over here.
So, Doug, during your early days on WWE TV between 1999 and 2003, did any of the veterans help you at all in the dressing room and accept you because of your uncle's status in OVW?
The only one I could think of that would have accepted me and helped me because of my uncle's status, not really status, but only because my uncle helped him earlier in his career, was Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Right.
He always, when he'd see me and he knew who I was at the point when I introduced myself and told him who I was, he always addressed me, say, hey kid, how you doing? How's your uncle? How's Danny?
Right.
Right. And then one day I took him aside and asked to talk to him in private and asked him some questions about wrestling, how to get over, how to succeed in the WWE, and asked if he would watch and just give me some helpful hints on how to make it to the top in the WWE, because at the time, Stone Cold Steve Austin, he was a fucking man.
He was a top star, yeah.
And he was a top star,
Sure.
and then along came The Rock afterwards. So that would be one of the guys that early in my career in the WWE that helped take me by the hand and gave me some helpful hints and helpful advice because of my uncle, Danny Davis. Now, there is another, John Bradshaw Layfield, JBL.
Really?
He came to OVW. He rehabbed a broken forearm. I think he broken his forearm or something like that.
That's right, yeah.
And he came to OVW and was rehabbing and getting back in ring shape. And that's when I met JBL. And I always thought JBL was this big, tough, rough neck Texan.
Yeah.
And I ain't gonna lie, in all actuality, you know, I heard about rumors and how he was supposed to be a bully and
Exactly.
you know, just a real pure dickhead, asshole, prick, son of a bitch, no good, cheap, dirty, kick you in the nuts if you're down, son of a bitch.
That's pretty good.
He must have liked me, and he did everything he could to help me. And it was because of JBL, I think JBL and The Undertaker, that me and Danny got our opportunity with the Cabinet.
The Cabinet, yeah.
Yeah, and those two guys right there that I owed so much to. I think I did, but you know, I hope maybe they hear about this DVD, see it, or somebody will tell them.
Yeah.
You know, I thank JBL, I thank Undertaker for the opportunity that they gave me, not so much my partner Danny, but me to go to the next level in the WWE. You know, those guys really helped me out a lot, and I will never, ever, ever, ever forget that.
Very good. Well, in moving along, in April 2002, you signed a developmental deal with WWE. Who was the person who gave you the call and offered you the contract?
It was Johnny Laurinaitis, head of talent relations. He gave me a call, and the weird story here is I was working part-time before I got my developmental call, I was working not part-time, full-time. I had a full-time job, just like every other wrestler in the fucking country.
Yeah.
You work 1 job, 2 jobs, and you go wrestle on the weekend for pennies, peanuts, nothing. And you love it, and you do it for free just because. It might be that chance, you might get seen, you might get noticed. Yeah. Which is true, man. We didn't know no better.
Yeah.
I didn't know that it was who you know, people that know you, people that can tell some other people about you. And if you got just a little bit of talent, that's where it's at. Doesn't matter if you're fucking the greatest wrestler in the world. If you don't know people, you ain't going to get dick.
It's pretty much with everything in life.
Nowhere. Yeah.
Well, your greatest success in the WWE, Doug, was as a tag team, of course, with Danny Basham. As the Basham brothers, you won the WWE Tag Team titles on 2 separate occasions. Exactly.
Like that means anything?
Of course it does. How did you and Danny get along together in and out of the ring?
Me and Danny actually got along really well. You would think we really were brothers the way we got along. Yeah. But not so much brothers as like wingmen for each other. I have no idea how to... No, I don't mean to sound like a...
Wingman translates over here as well. You're all right.
All right, cool. So we were like peas and carrots, man. We got along really well. We never argued, hardly ever fought. And I always look forward, every week when we met at the airport and before we got to rent a car and hit the road for the week, I always look forward to Danny's stories of the women that he encountered. He was quite the ladies' man.
Even more than you?
Hey, man. You're gonna ruin me if the wrong people see that.
Yeah, sure.
I'm just kidding. But anyway, anywho, I always look forward to hearing his stories of his adventures with his women.
Sure.
And he had some pretty good stories. So we got along great, man. I couldn't have asked for a better partner, a better friend, and a better guy to go up and down the road with. We had a lot of good times.
That's great.
Thanks, Danny.
That's pretty cool. All right. In October of 2003, you defeated Los Guerreros, Eddie and Chavo Jr., of course, to win the tag team titles, the WWE Tag Team titles, for the first time. And then on the second time that you won the tag team titles, you won a fatal 4-way match, which featured again Eddie Guerrero and Booker T, and also the team of Rey Mysterio and RVD, and also the team of Mark Jindrak and Luther Reigns. Which was your favorite match? And why?
I can't really pick a favorite match. The first, usually it's just like when you lose your virginity. The first time is always the best, or the most memorable, right? Because it's something you never had before.
Of course.
So I'm gonna have to say the first time, because it was a dream that I've been looking forward to for years and years and years. How cool it would be to be a WWE champion, whether it be singles champion or tag team champion.
Yeah.
And me and Danny took it as the first time as the World Wrestling Entertainment, Vince McMahon, his creative staff, had enough faith in me and Danny to represent the WWE as the WWE Tag Team Champions. And not only that, but for Los Guerreros, Eddie and Chavo, which we thanked so many times, to drop the titles to us and say, thank you for the run, guys. Good luck. Represent them proudly.
Sure. It must be a huge honor.
It was a huge honor,
of course,
to win the titles or have the titles handed down to us. Basically, no, we didn't win them. It's not real. You don't win shit.
Yeah.
You go out and you perform. But it was a huge honor to have those two guys hand the titles down to us.
Exactly. Then in March of 2004, you performed at WrestleMania 20 in another 4-way tag team title match. How did it feel to work your first WrestleMania? How was the whole day for you?
Dude, this wasn't just a WrestleMania. It was WrestleMania 20.
Sure.
Where it all begins again. And it was my very first one. A lot of firsts here in this whole thing going on.
Yeah.
In Market Square or Madison Square Gardens. I really don't have any words to describe the feeling when I walked out there.
Yeah.
It was just, you could feel the energy. You could just feel the history. You could just feel it.
Sure.
And then to go out there and perform amongst, three other guys out there that were feeling the same thing you were feeling.
Yeah.
Undescribable.
Did you feel obviously you felt additional pressure. How did you handle that?
I really didn't feel additional pressure.
No.
The only thing I felt was the excitement and anxiety when I first walked through the curtain or through the doors, and seeing all those people out there and knowing that it's WrestleMania. But once I stepped foot in the ring and the bell rang, it was time to go to work.
It was go time.
Yeah, it was go time.
Yeah.
And you just do.
Yeah.
You just do.
That's it. In September 2005, you were sent back to OVW for a period of time. You faced CM Punk in a number of battles. You actually defeated CM Punk in his first.
Let me correct you on that.
Go
I
ahead.
wasn't sent back to OVW.
Okay.
I went back on my own recognizance, trying to get back up to the WWE, trying
I
to
see.
get back on the main roster.
Okay.
They took me off TV. I had no fucking clue why.
Right.
So I was like, man, I gotta get back on. I want to get back on TV. So I took it upon myself to fly myself back to OVW from Florida, spending my money that I was getting on my weekly pay,
Right.
doing it on my own recognizance.
Okay.
And you know what? If I had it all over to do again, I wouldn't have done that shit.
Right.
I would have stayed my ass home.
Yeah.
Do you think I don't really think they saw what I was doing. I was working on new characters, trying to give new life to Doug Basham.
Sure.
Did anybody see that? No, I don't think anybody saw that. You know how I know? I got fired.
Towards the end then of 2005, OVW had provided a steady flow of new talent to WWE, the likes of Randy Orton, Batista, John Cena, Mickey James, and a few others. What was the atmosphere like backstage down in OVW? Was everyone optimistic that they had a great opportunity to be signed with WWE or by being in OVW at that time?
Well, when I was there, I can only give you my experience and what I saw when I was there. When I was there, before I got on a developmental deal, WWE came in and everything was real promising and real positive because everybody was there to learn and then eventually wanted to move up to the next level. And then when guys started moving up to the next level, some people were sitting there thinking, okay, he's moved up, I should be next. Okay, why am I still here? Why are they moving on? And maybe they're not entirely ready, you know. A little bit of, just a little bit of jealousy maybe in OVW when I was there.
Right.
But it was kind of a competition, you know. I think WWE likes guys to be competitive, and, you know, if they can put a competitive nature in you, they might bring the best out in you.
Of course, yeah.
So that was kind of the atmosphere in OVW developmental system when I was down there. Then I got my deal, and then I just was very happy with what I had.
Sure.
Trained, and I just waited for my turn, and I eventually got my chance.
Excellent. Let me see then. You were the first person to work actually CM Punk after he signed with WWE, a developmental deal, and you worked a program where he kept disrespecting you by not shaking your hand at the end of your matches.
Yeah.
I believe he broke his nose in his first match with you. That's what I've been told. What are your memories of that program, and are you surprised at Punk's popularity in WWE now?
No, Punk, and it wasn't me that broke his nose. It was
Right.
it was a spin kick. I can't remember who it was. Yeah, but yeah, shattered his nose and broke his nose. That wasn't me.
Okay.
I'm a little more careful with guys in the ring than that.
All right.
But accidents do happen.
Yeah,
you know.
sure.
I'm not surprised with his popularity because he's a straight edge individual, and I don't know if you know what straight edge is. It means no alcohol, no drugs, and all that. And he had a huge underground following with straight edge.
True.
And then he also, I think he was quoted the king of the indies. He was really popular in the indie scene up and down the East Coast and ROH and all that. So he brought with him to the WWE his own fan base and following.
Exactly.
And then once he got out there on the mainstream, all his fans followed, bought all his merch. And he's actually a pretty good worker too, a pretty good talent.
Yeah.
So it's not that he's deserving of what he's got. So he's earned it in my eyes, you know. And kudos to CM Punk.
Let me see now. Around this time, you had worked with a number of new WWE developmental talents, such as CM Punk, like we said, Elijah Burke, Brent Albright, Casey James, and members of the Spirit Squad, who at that time, in your opinion, stood out in OVW as 100% sure that they would make it to the WWE roster, and who, in your opinion, did you think would not make it?
Who do I think would not make it? Well, when I was there at the beginning, when Randy Orton first came in, he was a fat, pudgy kid.
Yeah.
Was pretty lazy, and tried to get out of as much stuff as he could when he was down there, and just thinking, golly, you know, when you got you're third generation wrestler, you got all this behind you. Why would you not
Sure.
give it all you got?
Yeah, definitely.
And so he was one of them. I was like, okay, he's here for his name. He probably won't make it.
Right.
So he's just passing time.
Mm-hmm.
But sure enough, where's Randy Orton now?
Right.
Yeah, he is, in my eyes, the future of wrestling.
No
He's
question.
the man. He's the man in my eyes. He's really good.
The idea of the cabinet, as you mentioned earlier on, who was the first person who pitched that idea to you, and what was the story behind you getting the spot as a member of JBL's cabinet, yourself and Danny?
I believe JBL and Undertaker. I don't know. I really don't know who went to Vince and pitched this idea. I don't know if it was JBL, if it was Undertaker, both of them together. I don't know that part.
Okay.
All I know is JBL came to me and said, hey, we have something for you. It's going to be really good for you and Danny. I'll let you know more about the details later.
Okay.
And this was the night of the Tough Enough challenge, I forget, where me and Danny defended the flag in the corner from all 5 opponents.
Yes.
And just so you know, and I'll say it for the fucking record, me and Danny represented the WWE that night. We represented what WWE stood for. We didn't let some guys who were not wrestlers, who were just there to get some prime time,
TV time,
5 minutes of fame.
Yeah.
We were there representing our company, what me and Danny had passion for, what me and Danny wanted to represent. WWE, Vince McMahon. We stopped those guys from getting the flag, and we were the first guys. We were the first guys. I'll say it. I'll just fucking say it.
Sure.
We were the first guys that successfully represented Vince McMahon in this Tough Enough challenge. Big Show didn't do it very well, and neither did Kurt Angle.
And this was Tough Enough.
And you guys know it's true.
Yeah. This was Tough Enough 2, 3?
4, I think. 3 or 4, whichever one it was. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Go back and look at your history, Darce, and you'll see.
Exactly.
Everybody else, go back and look at your history, and you'll see. We were the first ones to successfully represent WWE in one of those challenges. After that, everything else was not that competitive.
Who made the initial decision to remove you and Danny from the cabinet?
It was Vince's idea. He wanted me and Danny to split up and go into a singles career. So he came to us and said, the reason we're going to have you guys split away from the cabinets because I want you guys to start your singles career. I want you guys to come up with something for yourselves and then bring it to me and let's make it happen.
Right, right. Is that the general way with most people in WWE? Vince will come up to him and say,
I don't know what. I can't speak for everybody else in the WWE. I can only speak for myself.
Of course.
You know, everything's different. Every situation's different with everybody else. So I can't. How you expect me to answer that question?
Sure. That's fair enough. That's fair enough. The next question is in a couple of parts. Could you tell us about a day working for a WWE house show in terms of the travel and dealing with the agents, and then your match and working the live crowd? How does a typical house show day work on WWE?
Well, a typical day in the life of a WWE superstar would be you would fly from home to your destination city. Let's just say you're going to Newark, and you're going to travel in some cities in New Jersey. So they would fly you to New Jersey or Newark, New Jersey. You'd go get a rental car. You'd go to the first city. You do usually we would go get something to eat, maybe tan, or maybe go work out if we had time. And if we'd had that, we'd do that. If not, we would go to the next city, get something to eat, and then go do the show. Show gets over about 10,
right.
10:30. Sometimes we get out of the building at 11.
Yeah.
You would stop at any restaurant that was open that late at night, whatever it may be. Sometimes it was gas station food, beef jerky, whatever you could find. Whatever you could find.
Yeah.
But anyway, and then we would go to the next city, and we would get a hotel, the cheapest hotel we could find, or the nicest hotel we could find, depending on your budget.
Of course.
The pay scale was totally different with everybody.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, ours, not the greatest.
Okay.
But I'm not complaining. It was good enough.
Sure.
I made a good living.
Yeah.
I did something that 1,000 other people, a million other guys out there would love to have done. So I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
Made a good living. But anyway, then you would go, you get in your hotel, you get in your hotel, get in bed about 2, 3, sometimes 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
You'd sleep till noon, check out, get up, go eat breakfast, go tan, go to the gym, go eat again, go to the building, do the show. Show's over, go get something to eat, go to the next city, get a hotel.
Right.
That's how
Cycle
it was.
starts again.
That's how it was.
And could you take us through a typical Raw or SmackDown taping? Are there many differences from the arena arrival to the build-up of your segments and then working in front of the camera, as opposed to a live house show crowd? Are there many differences?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Loads of differences, because on a house show it's so laid back. It's not got all the fireworks. It's not got all the stress. You don't have all the brass there breathing down your neck, watching you, saying, "Hey, you got to do this and this."
Right.
It's just you, your opponent, or your coworker, and the ring and the people.
Right.
And you go out and you entertain the people in that arena. Whereas a TV day, pretty high stress, high strung.
Sure.
You have deadlines to meet. You have time restraints. And you have a shitload more people, and you have to entertain the millions of people watching, not necessarily the people in the arena.
Yeah. Okay. And then thirdly, the difference from working a house show and a TV taping to working a pay-per-view.
Pay-per-views were very stressful because you had to nail your times. If you didn't nail your time, you were screwing the guys behind you.
Right.
And they always stressed and stressed and stressed. Guys, hit your times. Guys, hit your times. If you're supposed to go 5 minutes, go fucking 5 minutes. You go 6 minutes, we got to shave time off of everybody else's time, which is taken away from them. They want the same time as you do. Pay-per-views are pretty stressful, yeah.
Sure.
And, you were being broadcasted worldwide, and you made a fucking mistake. It was... everybody saw it.
Sure.
So stress levels and the pressure to perform was a lot greater on pay-per-views than house shows. TVs were a little bit greater than house shows.
Sure.
And of course, pay-per-views was the Mac Daddy.
The big thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Just moving gears slightly. Chris Benoit and Eddie Guerrero, guys like that, have been described as wrestling machines and technicians and ring generals in the ring. You've worked both men quite a bit. Were they really ring generals and technicians? I'm sure they.
Hell yes, they were ring generals. Eddie Guerrero was more of a ring general than Chris Benoit. Chris Benoit was a great babyface. He was an aggressive son of a bitch. And I used to love to, actually, it's funny you said those two guys.
Sure.
Those are the two guys that I idolized in the WWE when I was there, that I wanted to be like. Chris Benoit's aggression, Eddie Guerrero's ring presence, facials, his genius,
Sure.
And
Sure.
I hate to see that they passed on. I'm going to miss Eddie Guerrero deeply. I'm going to miss Chris Benoit as well. But it's funny you said that both of them were wrestling machines, because one of my first gimmicks that I did in wrestling, I called myself the Machine.
That's true.
And then it evolved to the Wrestling Machine. So I consider myself a machine as well. Here we are in Moneygall Village, County Offaly. Beautiful town. Oh, it's a little cold. But some beautiful scenery here. Then you ask yourself, why am I here? Well, when you pass through this town, you see there's a nice little piece about this town that I didn't know about, that I had to find out. So, if you follow me, I'll show you why I'm here in this town. Ta-da! Good old Barack Obama, President of the United States. This is the village of Barack Obama's grandfather's father. Right here, that's right. The President of the United States, quarter Irish. Me, a quarter Irish. It's a beautiful town. All right, are you ready for this? I've never seen this in my life when we was here. Check this out. Right over here. It's on the way. The Obama Cafe. What a man. So that's what being a quarter Irish will get you, your own cafe. All the way from Moneygall Village. There's one thing I'm not a big fan of is the weather here in Ireland. It's very cold, as I am from Tampa, Florida. Sunny Tampa, Florida.
Would you have anything that's cultural standing out in America?
No, this
Florida, Indiana?
No, we have nothing like this. We have nothing like this in America. Believe me. We're here, Ollie Hayes' pub. And right here, it's got the American flag waving up there. The Irish flag, right? And another flag. European flag, there you go. Now, the thing about this pub here is Ollie Hayes is a descendant of Barack Obama himself. Let's go in. Here we are. Irish pub. Got the bar. Customer. We got Ollie Hayes himself.
That's all you off the fireplace, he's lighting the fire.
Right here, the owner.
Here, I'm working. Don't get me with the bucket of ashes.
But this is one of the reasons we came in here too. Over here, we got a wall. Got a spot right here where you can sit down and take a look to the left. Hey, Brock, what's up? How you doing? All right, high five. We got Obama 2008. Got all your Obama. Being that this right here is one of Barack Obama's relatives' pubs right here in Ireland, and it's kind of I don't want to say breathtaking, moving, but it kind of takes me back a little bit that I'm actually sitting in a pub where our president family, descendants of his family is from. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Peace. Barack, 09. Now, this is one of the traditions I learned here in Ireland is I was taught this like the first day I was here in Ireland. He took me to a pub, and this is how you do it. You come in, have a seat, and what do? You order a Guinness when he comes back. One Guinness, please.
On the way.
Oh, 2 Guinness, 3 Guinness, 4 Guinness, 5. I don't know how many.
How many Guinness?
We have
Two.
No, there's a certain way you pour a Guinness. You gotta. I learned this too. I didn't know this. Could I pour one?
Yeah.
I'm gonna pour my own, or maybe I'll pour a third. Oh, you already poured it.
Have two poured.
Is it okay if when we come around? Is there a way you can give me? I'm gonna pour a Guinness. Here we are. The Guinness glass. This one here. Can you see? You got it? My first Guinness ever poured. It takes skill, many years of practice and talent to pour Guinness the right way. Granted, I am a rookie. This is my first time. We'll see if I can get it right. Beginner's luck.
You need to pull it up as far as the heart settles, then you top it the rest way for a perfect point. That's a Canadian point.
Yeah, well, that's an American way. I poured it the American style. It takes a little bit of talent. Then I think it all settles. It comes, and you gotta let it brew.
Look at this there, you see.
Come on around here and check this out. Now, as you can see, these are professionally poured, and this is American poured. But I guarantee it, they both taste the same. That is how I poured a Guinness. I'll show you how to drink one in a minute.
You going to finish these pints?
Oh, I gotta finish them. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe come on. Here.
Here we go.
Little backstroke.
Backstroke.
Yeah.
Well,
Backstroke is on the top like that.
you gotta push it that way.
Push it back until the head is prouder than less.
Now, if it spills over the side of the glass, it's ruined.
It's ruined. All right.
Yeah.
And you go back to America.
Going back to Mary. Let's see if I can get this right. Do you bury it in or just put it right
No,
there?
just let it back now.
Just like that.
Back.
Just tip back.
Yeah. Keep going, keep going. Stop. Perfect. Up on top of the mat, leave it up on the mat. Up
Put a
here on
shamrock
top.
on the next one.
I'm not even able to do the shamrock. I never bothered to learn.
I think we should try it. You know how to make anything? I know in a Guinness sometimes they'll pour and they can make like a shamrock or
yeah.
something.
Do you mind if I try and put a shamrock on it?
Yeah,
Okay.
go ahead. Yeah.
Come show me how to do it and then I'll try it. I'm gonna learn something here.
On
Here
the
we go.
backstroke again. And press.
It's a figure of 8 and then a half a figure of 8.
Figure 8 and a half.
Now, I'm not a good drawer, so. Oh, not.
Not bad. We did it before.
It's
It's not. That's it.
a maple leaf.
No, that's it. That's it.
Thanks, Ollie.
I'll try. I'll give it the old heave ho. Give it a try. It's figure 8. All right. Is that one ready or is it?
Yeah, ready for.
Here we go. My shamrock. I don't know what that is.
It was an attempt.
It was a good attempt. See how to try. All right.
You
Well, I'm a
put another
rookie.
drop in it.
Beginner's luck, right?
Put another drop in it.
Another drop, right in the middle.
Yeah. And go another. No, until the head is prouder than glass, just slightly coming above it. But if it overflows, you just get fired.
So, would you hire me?
That's not bad. It's not bad.
It's my new boss right here.
Huh?
My new boss right here. Hire
Not
him as
bad. Oh, sure, you have an old shadow yourself. I said I didn't shave today.
All right, now it's time to drink them. I learned something else here in Ireland when I was here. Before you take a drink, the Irish term for cheers is cilantro. Cilantro. Smooth. You know, this is something I don't normally, was something I wouldn't do before wrestling shows. I wouldn't go out to a pub and have a beer or anything like that. And granted, you know, obviously, I like to drink a little bit every now and then socially. But one thing that I always pride myself on is not drinking or anything like that before a show in wrestling. Because one reason being, you got to represent yourself. People smell beer, alcohol, liquor on your breath. What kind of person they think you are? What kind of athlete they think you're trying to be? Two, there's another guy in there that's relying on me to have a nice level head, and because I have to protect him as well as protect myself. And three, what kind of a fool would I make of myself if I got in the ring drunk or I'd been drinking and not being able to take my job seriously and making a big joke out of it? I mean, there's been some people that have gone to the ring drunk, gone to the ring doped up, gone to the ring not with a level head, and went out there and just made a fool of himself, you know. And it's one thing I take pride in is when I get in the wrestling ring and when I'm working, I take everything seriously. I take my job seriously, and I want to do the best I can and entertain the people the best I can, because that's what they came there to see. That's what they come to watch. A good wrestling, entertainment. So, with that being said, Sláinte.
Doug, just backtracking slightly, Bradshaw in the ring and backstage. A lot of people have said Bradshaw is very stiff in the ring, and backstage he has somewhat of a reputation as a bully. How do you feel about this? What is your reaction to this?
What is everybody's obsession with Bradshaw? Why is everybody always obsessed with the bad guys? You know what I mean? I mean, you got the bad boys of dating, the bad boys of soccer, the bad boys of, I don't know what, acting. Why is everybody always obsessed with bad boys?
Well, it's just the stories you hear about, Bradshaw, Blue Mini, for example, at the ECW pay-per-view. I mean, I don't know how much truth there is to that, but...
Let me tell you my experience with Bradshaw, and that's about the best I can do, and then people can either take what I say and like it, or shove it up their ass. One of the two.
Okay.
Yeah, Bradshaw is a little testy, and he's a big, mean, burly Texan that could intimidate you if you let him, but, if he likes you, he likes you. Okay. He will do anything for you. Mm. Case in point, Doug Basham.
Okay.
If he doesn't like you, hey man, what do you do when you don't like somebody? Yeah. So, there's many different ways to handle it. Mm-hmm. I mean, back off his shit. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I have nothing bad to say about the man because he only helped me and helped advance my career. Maybe that's why I'm fired. Never thought about that.
Well, that's fair enough. That's fair enough.
I'm joking.
Okay. In the summer of 2006, you worked with Danny as part of Paul Heyman's personal security enforcers under masks in the new ECW brand. Were you happy with this position?
Yes and no.
Okay.
I was wanting to pursue a singles career for the longest time.
Right.
But I took this opportunity because, you never know what could come out of it.
Of course.
It was just the prolonging the inevitable is all it was, you know.
Okay.
That's all it was, because I got fired very shortly after that.
Right.
Yeah.
During your run in the new ECW as Paul Heyman's personal security, Danny tore his biceps and was replaced on TV for a few weeks. The second man under the helmet was either Ryan O'Reilly, who later quit WWE, or Derek Newkirk, the fake Kane in the Kane Undertaker storyline. Can you confirm which it was, or would you like to? As in, who was under the mask?
I have no idea.
Right.
No, really, I have no idea. Okay. Derek Nykirk was the second Basham under the mask with me.
Right.
Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
And as the Paul Heyman's...
Exactly, the security.
Yeah, that was Derek Nykirk.
Right, okay.
I thought you asked me something else, so I was like, I have no idea.
Oh, sorry.
It took me a minute to catch up with you. Yeah, Danny tore his bicep. The first night we were on tour as the Paul Heyman security, it was the first night we had to show. The second night he came in and he clotheslined Nunzio.
Right.
We worked with Nunzio, and he goes, Doug, I think I just tore my bicep. So I got in there and finished the match, and he stayed out. And sure enough, he tore his bicep, so he went and had surgery, had to stay home, so they replaced him with Derek Nykirk.
On the first night?
Second night.
Right.
Second night out. And we had it was a 4-day loop.
Right.
So he just had to tough it out.
Wow. That's very unfortunate, obviously.
Very unfortunate. We were just about to get back in the mix of things, you know, and he was pretty upset about it because he had to take like 4 to 6 months off. Wow. And then never got a chance to come back. They released us both before he could come back.
Man. What was it like to work with Paul Heyman at this time?
It was good. Paul Heyman, I really didn't know him that much or that well. And just to be around him and see how he thinks and listen to him talk, the way his mind worked, it was a good experience. It was an eye-opener for me, seeing another man's view on wrestling and another man's how another man sees wrestling.
Sure.
He's a pretty intelligent guy when it comes to wrestling. He's got a good mind in my eyes.
What was the atmosphere in the new ECW locker room when people realised that it wasn't the original version of ECW?
It was a little off. It was WWE CW. People
Okay.
saw that and knew that, so they just said it was another watered down version of Velocity. They said it was a watered down version of ECW. It's WWE's version of ECW. That's what they said.
Okay.
I didn't care because I wasn't a hardcore individual anyway.
Yeah.
Now the ECW guys, they lived it, loved it, and I, respect them.
Sure, of course.
Because they're great guys.
Yeah.
It just wasn't my style. Didn't mind being part of ECW. Hey, it gave me another chance, another shot.
Exactly.
Wasn't exactly what I was wanting, but who gets what they want in this world anyway, unless you're a beautiful blonde and wear next to nothing, right?
That is true. That is true. The day that Heyman was sent home by the WWE, what was the general feeling backstage at ECW? And did you believe that if Paul was not sent home, that you and Danny would have been kept up on the main roster?
You mean me and Derek?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. That's a tough call because as soon as Paul Heyman got sent home, and was done, we pretty much was done too. So
Right.
possibly if he would have still been there, we could have still been there and then maybe moved on to something else because they didn't really have anything else for us after he was gone.
Okay.
And the WWE is like such a machine. You got to keep feeding it, keep feeding it new stuff and new
Yeah.
talent. And I guess in their eyes, they have already gotten as much as they could out of me and Danny. So,
Right.
sorry guys, we're going to move some new, fresh talent in.
Okay.
It's okay, just business, just the
Yeah.
way it goes,
Yeah. What led to you being released from WWE in 2007? And how did you feel about it at the
I'm
time?
not really sure what led me to be released. I got a phone call from Johnny Ace on a Thursday. I was home burying my grandpa, and it just so happens, or my grandma, and it just so happens that my cousin passed away that same week. So I was at home, had two funerals almost back to back in 1 week, and buried my grandma on a Tuesday, and then my cousin died on a Wednesday.
Wow.
The next day, or it was a Monday and a Wednesday, it was a day apart.
Yeah.
Got a phone call from Johnny Laurinaitis on Thursday. I missed all this. This was kind of a funny story. I got to tell it because it was kind of funny.
Go ahead.
I've been trying to get a hold of Johnny Ace for 2 or 3 weeks, trying to say, hey, I'm going to go to OVW and I want to work on this new character. And once again, if I had all do over again, I would have just set my ass at home and not done fuck all.
Sure.
Wrestling term. Fuck all. Wrestling term. He called me to go, oh, hey, Doug, Johnny Ace, how you doing? I go, oh, Johnny, man, I'm glad you finally called. I've been trying to get a hold of you, I'm doing okay, we just buried my grandma, but the family's done, my cousin just died, we're going to bury him Saturday.
Yeah.
And, but all in all, it's not too bad, they're in better places, they're in heaven and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
Johnny's response was, oh, God. And I was like, why? He goes, we're going to let you go.
Oh,
And I was like, I stopped for a minute and I was like, is this a rib?
yeah.
If it is, it's not a funny one. And I was like, because I always thought, if you're a good worker, good workers will always have jobs.
Yeah.
I was always told it, and I truly believe that.
Yeah.
If you're a good worker, you'll always have a job somewhere.
Right.
I just thought that somewhere would always be in the WWE,
Right.
because I put all my energy into the WWE.
Yeah.
So he handed me my release papers, or told me I was released. Friday went by. I guess I was in shock of what the fuck am I going to do?
Yeah.
Saturday I got a call from Jim Cornette from TNA saying, hey, when's your 90-day no-compete clause up? I was like, April 19th. He goes, you're going to be in Louisville Gardens, whatever, a TNA show. Get yourself ready.
Right.
So I got hired. I got fired on Thursday. Got practically hired on Saturday.
On the Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how it goes sometimes.
Hey man, I'll take it the way I can get it.
Very good.
I got some people ask me sometimes, hey, what was the worst injury you've ever gotten in wrestling? And I've been pretty lucky. I haven't had any really bad injuries, but I got a scar. I don't know if you can close up, whatever. I got a scar right in here. Comes straight down. Let me know if you can see it. Yeah? was wrestling Nick Dinsmore in Ohio Valley Wrestling back when I was in the developmental territory, and he hit me with a chair, wham, on top of the head, and some guys will put their hands up and get hit with a chair to help maybe kind of like relieve some of the blow, or it's just a natural reaction to put your hands up anyway if anybody's going to hit you in the head with anything. Well, I didn't put my hands up. I just took it straight up and looked right into it, and he hit me in the head so freaking hard. I dropped straight to my knees, and I just went straight down, and I kind of lost where I was for a minute. And I was seeing stars, and then the match that was the end of the match. It was over. That was like I was a heel and he was a babyface, and it was his retribution. Last man standing. He's standing with the chair. Yay! I just whipped up all the bad guys. But afterwards, I got up and walked to the back, and I had this. I feel in my head, and I was still kind of woozy. I was feeling my head, and it was real mushy. You could just feel like mush. It felt like somebody had taken my skull and just poked a hole in it, and all the bone and everything was just real mushy there. And then it formed like I think what they said was like a blood, like hard blood that hardened up, and I had to go get it cut out and removed. It was a pretty good little marble-sized, not marble, bigger than marble, I don't know. It was a nice little piece of fat, it looked like. They cut it in my head and sewed up. Back to what I was talking about, injuries. One of the worst injuries, I've been pretty lucky in my career that I haven't had any major injuries, I'll knock on wood, and hopefully that doesn't happen. But I've seen some pretty bad injuries. JBL was one of the guys that helped me springboard from opening match, mid-card to main event, I contribute a lot of my success to him. He was one of the guys that fought for me to be in the cabinet back in the WWE days. Fought for everything that I got, like being tag team champions, matches we had, people we worked with. JBL lobbied to Vince McMahon for me and Danny. So I owe him a lot of thanks for my career. Thank you, JBL. But one of the worst injuries I seen was him. He took a chair shot to the head, and the chair, when you hit somebody with a chair, you usually use the flat side that you sit on, and it folds up. And then you still have this part you lean back on, that little lip. If you're not careful, you can really do some damage with that. But I saw a guy take this chair and swing it as hard as he could on JBL because he's such a tough son of a bitch. If you don't hit him hard, he's going to hit you back harder. Hit him in the head with the chair, and the flat part hit his head, but the little lip part that you lean back against hit the back of his head and dug into his head and split him wide open. He had a gap like that wide on his head, and blood was just squirting out. It was almost sickening and gross. It's pretty gross. But he finished his match. He come back to the back, blood still just oozing out of his head, and the doc went back there and patched him up and stapled his head together. And he didn't cry, whine, bitch or moan about it at all, because he's just one tough guy, man. He's really a tough guy. But that's probably the worst injury that I've seen in wrestling. Another injury I saw, this just come to me. Mark Jentrak. We were in the developmental territory. Oh, this is gross. This is probably, I take it back. This is the worst. Mark Jentrak would always jump out after practice, jump over the top rope from the ring to the floor. And it was a 20-foot WWE, 20 by 20 WWE ring. The ring was probably, this tall. And then Mark Jentrak was about 6'5", I guess. So he would jump over the top and land on the outside of the ring apron. One of our trainers, Rip Rogers, would always say, you need to stop doing that because you're going to end up breaking your ankle. Therefore, setting up what I'm about to explain. I was standing by the ring pole, just sitting there leaning up against it talking to somebody, and Mark Jentrak was getting out of the ring. He jumped over the top rope, landed on the ground, and just went completely white, and his mouth just went wide open, and he couldn't move. Well, what had happened was his ankle This being his ankle, when he landed, it folded under, and his foot was, this is the flat part of his foot. So his foot went like that. And it was a 90-degree ankle. His ankle was just totally twisted up like that. And he couldn't speak, he couldn't talk, he couldn't do anything. He totally like dislocated his ankle, broke his ankle. I don't know what he did. And that, when I saw that, I couldn't touch him because I looked down and saw it, and I almost puked. Because it's not normal to see somebody's foot sticking straight out that way. It's supposed to be straight down that way. So I take that. That is probably the worst injury that I have seen right there. It almost made me sick in the stomach. It was so gross. But he went to the doctor. They said reset it. He was back to work, 3 to 4 weeks. Those are my worst injury stories. Sláinte. What you see here, actually, let me rephrase that. Right here is where Barack Obama sort of came from. I'll explain. This right here is a plot of land which I'm standing in, where Barack Obama's grandfather's father's house used to be. So what does that mean? That means that somewhere around in here was Barack Obama's grandfather's father's bedroom, and he came from this little spot of land right here. So right here is looks like a concrete wall all the way back to that green fence. There's another piece of concrete wall over there and over here. So the house was somewhere here. Probably had a small backyard. And this is where Barack Obama, you'd probably say, originally was from, if you catch my drift. So that's pretty daggone neat in its own. Pretty sweet. This is a part of wrestling a lot of people don't get to see, And this is actually the hardest part of wrestling that people don't get to see, the traveling part. And you get in a car, you go to the town, and then you go wrestle, and then you get in a car, you go to the next town, and then you wrestle. But people think that a lot of the bump taking and the body slams and the suplexes and all that is the hard part, and that's a lot of wear and tear on your body. Yeah, that does have something to do with it. But the actual traveling in airplanes, cars, sleeping in hotel beds, that's actually takes more toll on your body than the actual physicality of wrestling. And being away from home, the stress of being away from home. But this is also the fun part. This is where you get to know the guys you're working with, guys you're riding with.
Your sexual activities.
Yeah, you talk about sexual activities, drinking activities you don't really want nobody else to know about. And this is what we do. We just entertain each other, and slag, as you guys say, slag each other off, or rib, and just make fun of and poke fun of, and it helps pass the time.
What's the average distance for you to travel in a car in America?
In America, the average distance was about 250 miles a night.
What would that be in hours?
Hours, it's about 3 hours, 3.5, somewhere around there. At night after the show. That's a pretty good estimate. But also overseas and in Europe, and traveling in a car gives me a good opportunity to see the countryside. Gives me a good opportunity to check things out.
So when you're approaching the venue, do you get any butterflies, or is it just here we go again?
Not really. When I get close, it's just like whenever you, like a normal person working at a factory would drive up to their job and park in a parking lot, and you get out and go to work. It's time to go to work, Except I really don't get butterflies until it's about time to walk out and go to the ring. So that's when, if I get butterflies, that's when I get them. Part of my job is to travel to the town if there's fans out there, greet the fans, say hi, and sign some autographs if they want them, and then go inside, get loosened up, and go to work.
Who were your favorite traveling companions in WWE?
In WWE, I had a lot of fun traveling with my partner, Danny. this is it.
Yep, this is it.
Pull up, get your bags, which mine are already here. I had somebody get them for me. I'm a very lucky guy. And then you walk in. They want me to get them in for free. They want me to get them in for free. What do I get for free? Nothing. This is the Walk of Fame right here. Walk up to the building. Hey lads. How you doing, fellas? Say hello to you. Hey guys, how you doing?
Hi.
Let me see that we got there. What is this? Hey, who's that guy?
He's the good guy.
Does it look familiar?
You.
Does it look familiar?
Yeah.
How you guys doing? Got your tickets? You guys coming?
Yep.
Say hi to all my fans out there.
Yo,
in
what's
America.
up, peeps?
There you go. Who are you going to cheer for tonight?
I don't know. Maybe.
It's for Doug. Let's hear it for Doug.
I'll see you guys tonight. Thank you. We go this way. You walk in and you see all the fans buying their tickets, waiting to watch. Hey guys, how you guys doing? Say hi, you're on camera. Everybody say hi. This is for me, everybody say hi. How are you? You guys come to watch wrestling tonight?
Yeah.
Is there anybody here you know?
Yeah.
Who?
Captain Rooney.
Captain Rooney? Who else?
Vito. Mandrick. Vito.
Any Americans?
Yeah.
Who? Vito? Anybody else? Anybody else? Anybody else? Oh, who said that? Come up here. Come here, who said that? He said my name. High five. You're the man. I'll see you out there. Whoa, here we go. Walk into the arena. Oh shit.
I wish I had pants on. What's the story? How are you? Just wearing pants.
Caught him with his pants down.
Like it. Be careful.
There's the locker room.
It's upstairs.
One of the first things I do when I always get to a venue is I like to check out the ring for safety issues, for my own personal interest, and just check things out. Ritual. Well, the ring's been checked. Meets all specs. It's time to go get geared up and ready to rumble. Lasers room.
Yeah, it's blinging.
Is it? Let me see if anybody's undressed. Is everybody dressed? This is the locker room. Thank you, buddy.
Problem here is there.
Thank you, buddy. Guys. Hello, buddy.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Not too bad, thanks.
It's one of the things you do usually when you come into the wrestling arena is you always say hi to everybody and Why do you say hi to everybody? Well, one is a sign of respect, and two, because I can't do this alone. I need his help. And this is the locker room. A lot of people don't see it, but you got a sneak peek. Time for me to get undressed. Bye.
During your time in TNA, Total Nonstop Action Wrestling, in May 2007, the Bashams came into TNA. Who contacted you? I think it was Jim Cornette regarding this stay. And did you and Danny originally? How long did you and Danny originally sign with TNA for?
When TNA gave us a 3-month, 90-day trial period, and Jim Cornette was the one who contacted us. Like I said, I think I said earlier in the DVD.
Yeah.
A day after I got released, I got contacted by Jim Cornette, asking when my 90-day no-compete clause was up.
Yeah.
And I was in Louisville, Kentucky at the Louisville, one of the venues in Louisville downtown that USWA used to run.
Right.
And that's when me and Danny started in TNA. We had 90 days to prove ourselves. We didn't quite make it. The story goes, I'm going to go ahead and answer a question before you ask it.
Yeah, go ahead.
The story goes, I don't think Jeff Jarrett quite thought me and Danny had what it took to make it in WWE, or maybe somebody got pissed off at us and went on a rampage. I won't mention any names. May have cost us the opportunity to stay there for longer. And then we got the Iggy, for all of you marks out there. I just said a term for you. Got the Iggy that we may not be kept on after our 90-day trial run. And then Danny didn't get a ticket to come to TV one Monday.
Right.
So he, knowing that they wasn't going to keep us, he just didn't call. He said, they're not going to keep us anyway. I don't have a ticket. They're just saying, hey, we're not on TV. So what? I'm going to go to work, make money because I have to live, blah, 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 blah. And then I went to TV that day and I was like, got on the phone, Danny, we're on the fucking board. Where the fuck are you?
Okay.
I'm in Indianapolis.
Oh, man.
And that was probably the nail that shut the coffin right there.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we had a pay-per-view. The next pay-per-view we were both on, we lost. Danny took the fall as punishment. He was gone. They sent him home. So anyway, I guess you say they look at it as he no-showed. He looked at it as they didn't give me a ticket, But who's right? In his eyes, he's right. In the company's eyes, he's wrong. So after that, we was on a pay-per-view. He got squashed. He got sent home. I showed up on a Sunday. He got sent home that following Monday. I stayed over for TV, and I got a trial, a singles trial with Jerry Lynn. I was in there. It was in between shows. They had the first TV taping. They have like a dark matches, and then they have the second TV taping. So I was one of the dark matches with Jerry Lynn, who's an excellent worker, excellent guy. About 30 seconds into the match, he gave me a Mexican head scissors, and I went shooting out through the ropes. And it's an octagon-shaped ring in TNA, and I wasn't really used to it. And I went shooting out through the ropes, and as I went out, I ran so hard because I really wanted to look good because I knew this was my singles tryout for TNA. So I wanted everything to look good. I put a little extra in everything. I shot myself out so hard and so fast that I missed the ring apron when I went out. So I my body over-rotated, and in the back, there was a metal stairs there. The back of my head hit the metal stairs. Out. Cold. Nobody home. And I said I was out, I was laying there. I watched the video back. I was laying there out, not moving, stiff like that. Referee, and what I remember is going out and then waking up looking at the signs. And the referee going, Doug, you okay? Doug, you okay? And I go, I can't move. I thought I was paralyzed because I couldn't move. And I was having a hard time breathing. And I'll tell you why all this happened in a minute. But I couldn't breathe. Then I started breathing. And then the referee's like, Doug, are you okay? I said, I can't move. And he's like, oh, shite. And he gets up, then he comes back and goes, how you feel now? I said, I still can't move. And I'm starting to get nervous. I'm like, I must have broke my neck. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, bam, I got up and backed up against the ring right there. And I was like, oh my goodness. And I didn't know what was going on, didn't know where I was at, didn't know what was happening. But for some reason, I must have been on autopilot because I just looked around, was taking it in, got up, walked up the stairs that I hit my head on, got into the ring. I was having a hard time getting in the ring because my left leg wasn't working, so I had to pull it into the ring. And I was just looking at Jerry Lynn, like, who are you? And then the referee comes over to him and he goes, can you finish, Doug? Are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. And then he looked at me and he said my eyes, afterwards he said my eyes just totally glassed over. Went like this, and then they rang the bell and said no. And then I started coming to a little bit more each time, and I felt the back of my head. And you know what a pack of hot dogs looks like? With the mini rolls, that's what the back of my head felt like. I felt like I had like a zillion rolls in the back of my head. So I go back in the back, I lay down and get checked out, and then that was pretty much it. I went home, went to the doctor the next day, and they said what had happened was the metal stairs hit the base of my skull, where the base of your skull and your spine meets. There's like just a little bitty gap there, and there's a bundle of nerves, your central nervous system nerve package right there. And you know, some people, one guy that I'm working here in Ireland named Mandrick might be able to relate to this. It's like a judo chop, bam! Boom, you hit it right back here. You can kill somebody if you hit them in the back of your head really hard. They said you can, if I would have hit my head hard enough in that one spot where I hit it, I could have killed myself. And I was like, wow, I guess it's just not my time. And I just felt very lucky, very fortunate to be here talking about it. Solancha?
During your time in TNA, you worked with Team 3D, the Steiner Brothers, and the Voodoo Kin Mafia. How are all these three teams to work with?
Excellent. You know, I mean, at that time, I even took Danny aside before we went out there, and I was like, Danny, I said, look who we're going to be. Look who we're in the ring with. Mm-hmm. We're in the ring with the Steiner Brothers, 3D, and Voodoo Kin Mafia. We're going to be in there with multi-tag team champions, guys that have made their mark in the business. Yeah. I said, and you know, we've two-time tag team champions, you know, so I said, how do you feel about that? You think we deserve to be here? He goes, yeah. Right. I don't think we deserve here. I know we just deserve to be here. Mm-hmm. I was like, it's a good answer, bro. Yeah. Positive attitude. Yeah, let's go make history.
Very good. Very good. Can you compare the differences in terms of the atmosphere in the WWE locker room and the TNA locker room? Are there many differences?
Yeah, the one difference I found from TNA and WWE is that TNA was a new company. They were striving to succeed, and everybody wanted to help build the company, and everybody was happy. Everybody was glad to be there. Mm-hmm. In WWE, everybody was wanting to reach to the top. Everybody was wanting to make the big fucking money. Everybody was willing to fucking kick whoever they need to do in the ass to get them out of the way so they could shoot to the top. Right. Right. That's the difference. Okay. Greed. Okay. Greed.
Can you compare a comparison between Vince McMahon and Dixie Carter as the respective heads of the two companies? What are the main differences?
Well, Vince McMahon is a male and Dixie Carter is a female.
Okay, point taken.
All right.
I see. I get you. Okay. Is that's the main?
If you can't figure that one out,
I got you. Okay. In terms of talent relations and booking committees between the two companies, what were the differences there?
Say it again.
What were the main differences between the TNA talent relations and the booking committees between WWE and TNA?
I really don't know.
Okay.
I really don't know because I got fired by both.
Right. Okay.
So I'm going to say I have no opinion on either.
That's fair enough. Do you think TNA can really build themselves to the same level as WWE?
I don't know, man. WWE's got a lot of money behind them, man.
Right.
They didn't just develop themselves overnight either.
That's true.
They started back in the 80s.
Yeah.
So it's been 20, almost 30 years of building to where they are now.
Yeah.
TNA is 5-6 years old. I mean, you can't just expect to go from zero to hero. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So TNA is nowhere near
Right.
WWE status yet.
Okay.
Got a long way to go. Love all the guys working there. They all work hard, and I'm friends with all of them, and I wish them well, and I hope the company does grow and prosper to compete with WWE. There needs to be, no matter, Pepsi, Coca-Cola,
Yeah.
Budweiser, Miller. You know what I mean? Everybody's got a competitor.
Exactly.
Competition is good.
Yeah.
It gives people variety. I really push and hope TNA can reach that status to where they can butt heads with WWE, because competition is good. It's good not just for the workers, it's good for the fans.
And it's good for the business in general.
Good for the business in general.
Yeah. What do you think TNA needs to do to get to that level? I know you're talking 20 years down the line.
I have not an idea, man.
Yeah.
I'm just a wrestler. I'm not an exec. I'm not a brain behind the building factor of a wrestling company, man. I just am I'm a workhorse, man. I'm a machine.
Yeah.
Like Eddie and
Chris.
I do what I do.
Yeah.
Everybody else does the other shit.
Right. Okay.
I get paid to take bumps, not make decisions.
Okay. Moving on to the wrestling at the moment, at the present time. How is the indie scene compared to WWE?
Shit. Plain and simple, and I know every motherfucker out there that sees this will agree with me. It is shit.
Right.
It's tough, man. It's real competitive. The money's not any good, really, you know. In the States, it's fucking... it's cutthroat, man. It's hardcore.
Right.
You got some guys that independent promoters will pay to bring in because they bring in their group, their cult fan base, you know.
Yeah.
And then if you're a no-name, man, you are totally fucked. You're screwed.
Right.
You know, it's hard to get a good start in the business today, you know. I hope I answered your question, because I don't know what else to say about that.
I mean, that's fine. It leads me on to the next question. With all of your 17 years of experience in the wrestling business, how has it changed since you started?
In the WWE, it's changed from wrestlers and people who know the business writing to Hollywood script writers writing.
Right. Right.
But then again, in my defense, that's just the evolution of the business. It's just, you've got to be able to roll with the punches.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
Just the way it is. Just the way it's going. If you can't lump it, get the fuck out.
Yeah. Yeah. The next question may be a little bit personal. The Chris Benoit tragedy from 2007. Where were you when you heard about what happened, and what are your opinions after working with Chris Benoit for so many times throughout your career, both in WWE and OVW?
I worked Chris Benoit many times. He was an idol of mine, guy I idolized. I was at the gym when I heard about this incident. I didn't know about it because I didn't watch TV for a minute. And some people who see me in the gym all the time come up and ask me about it. I didn't know what the fuck they were talking about.
Right.
So I really don't have any opinion about it. It is what it is.
Yeah.
It was what it was. Nobody will know exactly what happened, I don't think.
Okay. Okay.
That's about it. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
Putting on your trousers over your wrestling.
Inside of my bag, kind of simple, easy. Keep my clothes,
T-shirt.
my wrestling boots.
Yeah.
you know, my towel, or gut gear in the ring and stuff like that. Got my heat, tanning stuff. Pretty simple. Something I like to do though. Oh yeah, my phone in my pocket. European phone. I just go through my match in my head whenever I put my boots on. I like to
Explain the rules.
clear my mind.
It's an infraction.
And usually put my boots on the same way every time. Superstition. Baseball players, yeah, I always put my right foot in first, my right boot on. Just a little superstitious thing I do. And lace them up tight. In case I gotta wrestle some big mean guy like Big Vito or somebody like that. Gotta make sure they're on tight so they don't come off. I just do one lace at a time. Ever so gently, ever so slow. Make sure it's nice and tight. And then when I almost get, I do something a little different. Almost get to the top, I stop one hole out. I never lace the top one. Never noticed that. Nobody ever noticed it because I never told anybody. Nobody was noticed. And then, instead of doing a single knot, Doug Basham does a double knot like that, and then tucks the rabbit ears into his boot. Nice and pretty. That's how I put on my boots. I got one more to go. It's one of the most nerve-wracking parts before I have a match, it's the beginning. There's the anticipation of it starting and making sure everything goes well. And stretching, making sure I don't pop a hamstring or anything like that. Loosen up the knees. A lot of things are going through my head at this point. Like everything I'm going to do out there. Which could change at any moment because listen to the crowd and gotta give the crowd what it is that they want to see and want to hear. So I don't plan stuff at all. Some guys do, I don't. I just do my shit on the whim and go from there. Just get loosened up. Sure, nice and They have the raffle? The raffle next? So, I'm just about on. This is probably where all my bones are cracking and popping because it's cold. Fake jump rope. Ready to go? Is it about ready? What do you think? No. It's always good to laugh before you go out. Calms the nerves. Although I've been doing this for 16 years, I don't really get that nervous anymore. I still get a few butterflies every now and then. Because I just don't want to mess up. treat every match like a big time pay-per-view. Go out there with the intent of working hard. I believe in giving people what they ask for, what they pay to see.
Ready, Doug.
Ready now?
Again, I'm very sorry to play Sunday is 2 o'clock. You're at 2 o'clock and 2 o'clock at the Twins in a little bit.
Match good?
I know, that's
Match good?
It's fine. It's good. Yeah, that was nice and easy. It's good. Big deal.
Sometimes that happens. A human. Not done yet.
Yeah.
After working then in both WWE and TNA, can you tell us who are considered the locker room leaders on each of the WWE brands and also in TNA?
I'm pretty sure that, of course, I was with Smackdown. I wasn't on Raw, but I think the locker room leaders pretty much in Raw were like Triple H and Shawn Michaels, those guys there, Ric Flair to an extent too, and locker room leaders, Smackdown side were Undertaker, JBL, locker room leader Eddie Guerrero, even Kurt Angle stepped up, and led the way for us. And as far as TNA, I really wasn't there long enough. TNA was like a group, like a big group effort. I was only there for 90 days, and I was just trying to mind my own and get a contract. So I tried to keep my nose clean, which I didn't do a very good job of.
How important are locker room leaders?
I think they're very important. Somebody's got to step up and keep guys in line and have order and structure in the locker room. If somebody's stepping out of line, somebody there to go, hey, you're fucking up. And also to, on a smaller scale, like in an independent level, someone to get everybody gathered up, to get the ring tore down, put the ring up, let's get the show on the road. You're going too far. And on the bigger level, it's veterans are usually locker room leaders. They're someone who younger talent can go to and talk to about their match, how they can put things together and do stuff like that. So locker room leaders are pretty important. They play a pretty important role in any organization, no matter what the level you're at.
So Doug, moving on, are there any wrestlers in the WWE developmental territory that never got the call to come up to the main roster but may have deserved it?
There's one guy that was in the developmental territory, Chet the Jet, they called him. He never got the opportunity to be moved up, had a good body, was a hard fucking worker, and he never got the opportunity to be moved up. His only downfall may have been that he was like a wrestler, a pure wrestler, and maybe not so much an entertainer.
Right.
But then again, that goes to show that the WWE is, a lot of it is, if you know somebody likes you, they'll move you up and get you pushed, and you gotta have, if you got a little bit of talent behind you, you'll move on. And then again, I maybe he didn't have anybody behind him.
Right.
But what a hell of a worker, hell of a good talent. And it's a shame because he spent like 2-3 years of his life, 4 years of his life dedicating himself to this craft and not really getting any credibility because he was stuck in the WWE developmental system and never got moved up to get any TV exposure or anything like that. So he kind of got robbed of about 2 or 3 years of his life, you know, and not going to be able to put profit off of it.
Okay.
That's in the developmental system. Now, outside of the developmental system, in my travels, I've seen a few people that are worthy of developmental opportunities, worthy of developmental talent. And one guy is from Ireland that I worked with in Irish Whip Wrestling. His name was Mandrake. I never really caught his real name because when you're in this world, you refer to people by their wrestling names or working names, and that's just the way it is. But I worked with him. He was a little bit thinner the first time I saw him, but an excellent talent in a ring. And then I come back to Ireland the second time, and he'd picked up weight. He transformed his body. He changed his look. And I was like, who the fuck is this? And then I was told it was Mandrake, and I was like, are you fucking kidding me? And the guy went and transformed himself into something totally different. So I think he's well worth a look if anybody was interested. But who am I? I'm just Doug Basham.
What are your views on the old adage of paying dues in the wrestling business, and do you believe that paying dues still exists today?
Oh, fuck yeah, I believe in paying dues. I believe that every young guy should have to pay dues. I paid dues by putting up the ring for 4 years of my wrestling career. I had to go to every show and put up the ring. I was the first one to arrive and the last one to leave for the first 4 years. That's paying dues. And then when I thought I paid my dues, I got moved up to the next level. I had to pay my dues again. And then when I thought I paid my dues there, I got moved up to the next level, WWE. I had to pay my dues again. And it's all about respect in our business. If you want to be respected, if you want to be accepted into the locker room by the veterans and everybody else, you better pay your fucking dues. You better know what the fuck you're doing. You better walk the walk and walk it pretty fucking tight, you know what I mean? Or you will be so rejected, and if you're rejected out of the locker room, you will not make it.
And you'll never get back in again?
No. You'll be out. Done.
Moving on slightly, because of your family ties with OVW, have you or would you ever consider taking up a trainer's position there?
Yeah, possibly. Whenever I'm finished. Right now, I'm still touring internationally. I'm at the point in my career, I had stages in had goals and things I wanted to accomplish and do as before my career, I retire. First was, to get to the WWE. Second was to have a career there. Third was to travel abroad, and then after that, retire. Maybe open my own place, school, train people, help my own company. I don't know. But that's still a few years away.
Sure. Yeah. Well, sticking with that, there's possibilities, I believe, in the future of you perhaps opening a European wrestling school. Can you give us some background on that?
Yeah, I've thought about it after being over here and seeing that, seeing the interest in someone that's been to the WWE, someone who's been around for 16 plus years in the business. There's a market here for that here in the European country, England, Ireland, and also the rest of Europe. So I've put some serious thought into maybe coming over and testing the waters with training, starting off training, and then if that work goes well, opening up my own school and seeing what happens there. But if I did do that, I would be very, very picky about the people that I train, because I'd be putting my stamp on these people, you know what I mean? And I would only train, I would train them American style wrestling, because I'm sure everybody wants to get to the WWE.
Sure.
And I'd give them all the help I could, because 1, I've been there, 2, I got connections for there, and 3, I know what it takes to get there.
Right.
So I'd pass that along to the students that wanted to train and learn.
What's the best advice that you've ever been given during your time in the business, and who gave it to you?
Eddie Guerrero ripped my ass one time because I come back after a match and said, man, I should have done this. And he ripped my ass and said, I don't want to ever hear you say I should have again. I want you to come back and say, well, I tried. So that's the best advice I ever got. He goes, don't you ever say I should have. I want you to come back and say, I tried.
Could you tell us about your life after wrestling in terms of your education, if you would, as a wrestler, and what else there is after wrestling in terms of your living?
Well, for the past 16 years of my life, all I've known is wrestling and part-time jobs. I was with the WWE for 6 years solid. I made a living. I made my past 6 years paying my bills, putting food on my table, paying for my mortgage through wrestling. When that came to an end, I had to ask myself this question that probably everybody who gets released from the WWE asks themselves, oh my God, what is next? I mean, for everybody out there listening, you know, for every worker, a wrestler listening, there is life after WWE. There is life after death, you know what I mean, so to say. What I did was, when I was finished with wrestling, I evaluated myself. I was like, what's my body like? How am I feeling? What am I going to do? When I figured out that I was probably almost finished with wrestling, because I wanted to be able to walk. I want to be able to have a child someday.
Sure.
And when I do, I want to be able to hold my child. I want to be able to play with him. And if I keep on going down the road of wrestling, you know, I don't want to be able to play. I don't want to play with him in a wheelchair or not be able to hardly walk.
Yeah.
So I continued my education, you know what I mean? I went back to school. I became a massage therapist, because it was the short road to physical therapy.
Okay.
Because I want to help people. I'm a people person.
Sure.
A lot of people don't know this about me. So I've decided that this tour, I'm on tour with the Irish Whip Wrestling right now. And the date is February 7th, I think.
Yeah.
This interview is being done. I don't know when it's going to be put out, but I've decided I think this is going to be my last tour. I'm going to retire.
Right.
And that's why I agreed to do this video, or this DVD. We're going to go back to school and pursue a career in physical therapy, get my doctorate, finish out what I started, 16, 17 years ago.
Sure.
I was going to be a doctor. Well, it's not almost the same, but I want to go ahead. I live my life. I have my fun. Now it's time to grow up and go to school and continue my education the rest of my life. So that's what I'm doing. It was great. It was a good run. I had fun, but it's time to grow up.
Sure. Well, you got to live both sides of the coin, which is great.
And you know what, Darce?
A lot of people don't get to have that.
And you know what? I can honestly say, if I did not quit college from going to be a doctor, if I did not quit college and pursue my career in wrestling, I would have always asked myself, well, what if?
Exactly.
What if?
Exactly.
Now, granted, it didn't turn out quite the way I wanted it to, but I did it.
You had a damn good run at it.
And how many fucking people out there can do what they dream of, can live their dream job? I'm over here in Ireland and touring Europe right now
Yeah.
for practically almost free. I'm getting paid to come over. I pay for my food. How many people can say they get a paid vacation for 6 weeks?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Not many.
No, fuck no, not many at all. But I earned it, you know what I mean? 16 years I put towards doing that. So I earned this vacation for 16 years worth of work.
Sure.
It's just going to come to an end at the end of the 6 weeks. And I'm going to have to start planning for the rest of my life, the rest of my future.
Sure.
So there's life after WWE. There's life after wrestling.
Excellent.
I answered all your questions, and I've done everything that you asked me to do.
Yeah.
And there's only one thing I want to do, wrapping up this DVD, whether it makes it or not. Everything I said, everything I did, everything I told you on this DVD
Sure.
was my opinions.
Okay.
As part of my last thoughts and my retiring comments
Okay.
in wrestling. So I hope it gets out there. I love the business. I'll never ever stop loving the business. It's in my heart. It's my passion. But these are just my opinions on everything that I had. And I can only hope that nobody, if you get pissed off, so what? It's my opinion. I'm entitled to say what I want to say.
Of course.
If you can't handle it, fuck off. If you can, you're a bigger man than I am. You know what I mean?
Right.
So thank you for the opportunity for setting me down and asking me these questions. And for the record, I was involved with Gail Kim. No, I'll just leave it at that.
Okay, that's
because
fair
there's tons of people out there that would probably want to know that.
enough. I'm sure.
She'll probably be pissed. So what?
Well, thank you very much, Doug. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
You're
very
welcome,
much.
Darce. Thank you. It was hot in there. When it's really hot, you blow up faster and easier, and you gotta really pace yourself. Except for the very end, when it's Babyface's comeback, you gotta bump feed. You gotta be there for him because he's sold his ass off for you in the match. And Mandrake did a good job tonight. The guy worked, and I know the crowd was very quiet throughout the biggest part of the match, and they didn't come with him as much as I wanted. But I restructured the match as we worked it, trying to get them to have some reaction. Finally found what was working. But the main thing I was going for was the only thing people are going to remember anyway, and that's the finish. When he beat me and he pinned me 1, 2, 3, the place went ape shit. Everybody cheered, everybody was happy, everybody was around the ring banging on it, yelling Mandrake's name. And that tells me I did my job. I did a wonderful job. Now it's time to wait for Mandrake to come back. Tell him thank you. I'm fine, make sure he's okay. Get a shower, food, a Guinness, and then off to the next town. Come on. Thank you. No, it was fine. You okay?
Yeah.
Nothing hurt? Nothing hurt. Everything fine. Everything was really good. They were just kind of tough, so that's why when you got up, I pulled you back down. Yeah. And waiting for them to come, and they wouldn't come with your face. It was like, well, we'll make them. Just come down, just wait. If they're not coming, just make them come.
Yeah.
That's why we gave them a little bit. We took an excellent bump on that boot. And I had the ropes. Oh, yeah. You hear them pop?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Top bump was.
Thank you very much for the match.
I'll keep my right.
It was, you made that look so good. And that was all you. I'll just stick my foot up there. It was just a slow build. The main thing was, what they do at the very end after the 1, 2, 3?
Yeah.
They exploded.
Yeah, that's what.
It was just a slow build. Just a slow build. You baby faced your ass off, and I did the best I could to heal.
Yeah.
They really wanted to see you win. You know, so I feel like I did my job.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
you did yours.
That was brilliant. Thank you for
That's what I think you're going to remember is the very end. Thank you, man. Thank you for the chops. They were good. Yeah, the one you got me, boom, was really good.
The first one, I thought, oh no. And then you hit me, I was like, oh, come on.
Well, when they weren't even reacting to that, that's why I was like, cut it. Because I know since us beating the shit out of each other and not getting anything out of it, so that's why I was like, no, let's go into something else. Cut me off, cut you off. Hey, Jenny, anything, man?
No, that was brilliant. That was cool.
Oh, it was fine. Thank you. That's all I can say. Thank you. Job well done. Well, this is the loneliest part of the trip right here. It's just you and the road. But you know that your final destination is going to be filled full of life because you're going to do it all over again, another performance. I'll never, ever stop loving the business. It's in my heart. It's my passion.